What's going on, guys, and welcome to my driver tier list for the 2023 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Yes, the season finale. It is the final tier list for the final race of the 2023 season. So, as usual, going through from, ranking from S tier all the way down to F tier in alphabetical order. I haven't actually swapped some drivers around here because we need to get rid of De Vries. Last time we need to do that, although we may come back and do a tier list for like the whole season, like ranking each driver. I'm thinking I might not do that as a tier list, so I think I'm going to average out all my grades and then not do a tier list, just kind of do a from, well, I guess 22 all the way down to number 1, but that'll be a later video anyway. So yeah, let's get started as we always do with Alexander Albon. It was not quite the end that Williams and Albon would have been hoping for. They did at least secure P7 in the Constructors' Championship, which was very big for them, just beating out AlphaTauri, well, with their, end-of-season resurgence that they seem to have. But it was a decent race from Albon. They didn't quite seem to have the pace. Only P14, didn't really move anywhere. There were no retirements, really. I mean, Sainz technically retired, I think, on like the last lap, because he's still classified as 18th. There's two people behind him that, as far as I know, didn't retire. So, but Albon, P14... It's not, I don't think the Williams was that amazing this weekend. Wasn't a mile ahead of his teammate either. So I think I'm just going to have to go for a C for Albon. Just kind of middle of the road. Not amazing compared to what we've seen lately of Albon and Williams. Not quite the performance we were hoping for, but is what it is. He's had a very good season other than that. Fernando Alonso finished P7, so decent race from Alonso. Beat his teammate by a good 15-16 seconds, so pretty good from Alonso. The Aston Martin's kind of just where it is, not really much more you can say about it. I'm going to go for a B. I don't think I can give him much more than that. I think P7's probably about as much as he could have expected and hoped for in that Aston Martin, the way it is at the moment, or the way it was at the end of the season. We're not going to see this Aston Martin again. It's going to be a new one for next season, but yeah, I don't think he could have done much more, but I personally can't give him any higher than a B. Yeah, I just can't personally. Valtteri Bottas, I mean, I think he got kind of screwed over with strategy, but yeah, no pace all weekend pretty much for Bottas. Ended up P19, a lap down. Yes, his strategy was definitely not great, especially compared to his teammate, but that's not really on him. I don't think I can give him... I'm almost thinking a D. I don't think it's really his fault, but at the same time, yeah, just not great from Bottas in this final race. So it's difficult to judge that. Maybe I will go C, actually, because it's just one of those Alfa Romeo things. And I think he had the pace on Zhou this weekend, but they decided to go for a one-stop with Bottas and a two-stop with Zhou, and the one-stop did not work, to say the least. Pierre Gasly, another pretty disappointing weekend from Gasly. Once again, not really his fault. I think because he was on top of Ocon pace all weekend, and then in the race he was well ahead. He was in a good position at one point, and then all of a sudden just started slowing down and ended up falling out of the points and behind Ocon. I think he got undercut. I think the team actually undercut Gasly with Ocon, and he was a bit annoyed about that and confused, as you would be. But I think he picked up damage from... Well, he got hit by Hamilton, and he got hit by... I can't remember who the other one was. He got hit by someone else in the rear. Was it Perez? Got hit by someone else. So it was a bit unfortunate for Gasly. I'm going to give him a B. I think had he finished in the points, it would have been an A. But yeah, unfortunately, he just dropped back. But I think that was because of damage, because he had really good pace, and then all of a sudden he just slowed down once he got hit by Hamilton, mainly. Lewis Hamilton, a pretty poor weekend, I'm going to be honest, from Hamilton. Really bad qualifying, out in Q2, and then it was this week that he was out in Q2, wasn't it? I'm getting that right? I think I am. And then, yeah, only P9. Only P9. Not great from Hamilton. Quite off his teammate this weekend. I almost want to go D, because for Hamilton standards, he was way off. I mean, how far behind Russell was he? 24 seconds off Russell. I don't think there was a massive difference in strategy. I'm going to go for a D for Hamilton, because I think he was just way off the pace this weekend. Really, really off the pace. Yeah, Not really much more I can say. Just not a good weekend for Hamilton to finish it off. Nico Hulkenberg finished P15. Was it this race he got into Q3? I can't even remember. But yeah, it's a C. What more can I say? It's Haas. There's not really much more you can say about it. I think I say that every single time. Charles Leclerc finished P2. He fought Max into turn 1, but yeah, the Red Bull, was just way too much for him. And in the end, on the road, came home third, but I think he would have held on to Perez, but he decided the last lap or two let Perez pass with the penalty he had to try and get Perez to finish in between Sainz and Russell, in between Leclerc and Russell, for Ferrari to then win get second in the Constructors' Championship against Mercedes. Didn't work, unfortunately. Russell ended up still finishing third. Perez was fourth, but I think Leclerc honestly pretty much did everything he had to. There wasn't really much more he could do, I don't think. So I'm going to give him an S. I think it was a great final race for Leclerc. Great qualifying, only just missing out on pole. And yeah, just all round very good stuff for Leclerc. Hopefully he can build on this, and Ferrari can build on this with the car and everything. And maybe, just maybe, they can challenge next year. I'm not massively hopeful, but yeah, I'm hoping. I'm not massively... Is hopeful the word? I'm not expecting it, but I'm hopeful. Maybe that's the way to say it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just delusional. Kevin Magnussen finished literally dead last. Qualified, I think, 19th. Bad weekend from Magnussen. It's a D. The more I think about it, the more I'm thinking, is Hamilton being in D too harsh? Because I don't think I can go E. Can I go E? No, it's a Haas. I can't really go E. I feel like D might be too harsh for Hamilton, but I hold Hamilton at such high standards, and Russell completely pummeled him this weekend, so I think that's fair enough. Yeah, I can't put Magnussen lower than a D because it's a Haas, doesn't have much pace, and he didn't crash at least, but yeah, I don't know, not great. Lando Norris, bit of a missed opportunity, I think, for Norris. He could have potentially got pole. I don't think he was winning the race, but he could have got pole. He kind of bottled the lap and ended up finishing 5th in the end. It was decent from Norris. Whereabouts is he? 20? Yeah, it was decent. I think, all in all, for the race, he did pretty well. He kind of got stuffed in the pits as well. McLaren had a bad pit stop, and that, probably lost him the position to Russell, maybe. Maybe he could have kept Russell behind. I think the Mercedes was quicker this weekend, but yeah, I think an A for Norris. He did a pretty good job. Esteban Ocon ended up finishing ahead of Gasly in the end, but still no points for either of the Alpine boys. And I do think, all in all, that Ocon didn't have as good of a weekend as Gasly, so it's going to be a C. I don't think he was feeling well. I think I heard after qualifying that he wasn't feeling very well this weekend, so that could have also been a part of it. But yeah, I definitely think Gasly had the upper hand and just, I don't know, got unlucky with the damage or whatever happened with his car. Sergio Perez, yeah, a good recovery drive. I think the penalty was not really deserved. The fact that Norris, went through and carried on, and as far as I know, nobody got damage, I don't think Perez really deserved the penalty for that. Norris kind of turned in on him. And yeah, in the end, Norris carried on ahead anyway, so I don't think that was really deserving. So all in all, I think it was an okay result from Perez. I think it was one of his better performances, although qualifying wasn't very good. So does that pick him down to a B? I don't know. I think it might. I don't think I can give him higher than a B. Yeah, I think that's about where he deserves to be. B. You see what I did there? Oscar Piastri, I think it's a B for him. A very good qualifying P3, although, if Norris didn't stuff up his lap, he would have qualified ahead of Piastri, but Norris did stuff up his lap and Piastri didn't, so you got to give him that. In the race, didn't seem to have the best pace. Only finished about 6 seconds behind Norris. So yeah, it was all right from Piastri. Nothing amazing, but it was okay. George Russell, I think a really good race from George Russell. P3 in the end. I'm going to give that an S. I think possibly his best weekend of the season. Or definitely up there. had the measure on pace on Hamilton, definitely. And yeah, great qualifying, great race. Couldn't really ask for much more. Maybe getting ahead of Leclerc, but yeah, he did all he needed to do to secure Mercedes P2 in the Constructors. So good on you, George. Carlos Sainz, a dismal weekend for Sainz. He just had no pace all weekend, crashed in FP2, didn't have the car in FP1 because of the rookie test. In FP, yeah, and then FP3 he was way off the pace, and then qualifying way off the pace, knocked out in Q1, P16 I think it was. And then yeah, just wasn't anywhere in the race. The Ferrari put him on a bit of a weird strategy, but it seemed like even if they put him on a normal strategy like everyone else, he still wasn't going to score points. So I'm going to have to give Sainz a D this weekend. It was a really poor weekend for Sainz. His pace was just absolutely nowhere all weekend. Logan Sargent, I think it's a C. He qualified, well, yeah, is it a C? That might be a bit nice. He didn't finish that far behind Albon in the end in the race, so that's why I'm going to give him a C. Qualifying was terrible. He looked like he was actually on pace with Albon in qualifying, and I think he was all weekend, but didn't even get a lap in Q1 because every lap that he did, he crossed the line at turn 1 and got it deleted. So massive, massive problem for him there. Could have definitely got through to Q2. And yeah, but in the race, he kind of made up for it. He finished P16, and only a few... Okay, he was 13 seconds, 14 seconds behind Albon, but I think it was okay. I'm going to give him a C. Maybe that's a bit too nice for Sargent. I don't know. There was definitely potential there. Just don't cross the lines. Lance Stroll finished P10. Wasn't a great qualifying. Yeah, I think it's a C. 1 point is good for him. Maybe it's a B, although I've put Alonso in B. So maybe I should put Alonso in A. Am I being... No, I think I'm going to keep it at that. I'm going to keep it at that. Lance Stroll C. At least got a point for the team, but once again, a pretty poor qualifying. And yeah, the Aston Martin just not really there at this last part of the season. Yuki Tsunoda, great race from Tsunoda. P8 in the end. I'm going to give him an S. I think it was a brilliant weekend for Yuki Tsunoda. Qualified 6th, which was amazing. Was holding 6th for a long time. The team, I think, left him out a bit too long in the first stint. Of course, he was leading the race for 2 or 3 laps, which is pretty crazy to see. But yeah, not really the best strategy. But Yuki did everything he could. P8, give it another couple of laps. He might have caught Alonso. I think if they didn't, you know, do a bit of a questionable strategy, if they did a more normal strategy, I think he could have finished P7. I think P6 was a bit of a stretch to beat Williams, but yeah, really good weekend. Possibly, I'd say probably Tsunoda's best of the year, so very, very good. He always seems to go well in Abu Dhabi, doesn't he? Max Verstappen, I mean, it's another S. Pole position, fought with Leclerc at the start, kept him behind, drove a great race from there onwards. No faults from Verstappen as per usual. That's that. Zhou Guanyu, I just realised I haven't put Ricciardo in, so Ricciardo's going to be the last one we go to. Zhou Guanyu, yeah, C. Alfa Romeo, didn't really see him. Beaten by his teammate in qualifying. Beat his teammate in the race, but only because he was on a better strategy. Yeah, what else can you say? And then finally, Daniel Ricciardo, who finished P11. I think pretty decent result in the end for Ricciardo. Qualifying wasn't the best, but yeah, an alright result. I'm going to give that a B. I think a B for Ricciardo is pretty fair. So there we go. That is my tier list for the 2023 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the last race of the 2023 season. I will be doing hopefully a few different kind of post-season videos. So we're going to do one on, like I mentioned before, ranking all the drivers over the whole season. I reckon I'm going to average out my scores and see where that puts them. I may also, you know, because some of them might not be 100% accurate, but I think that is how I'm going to do it. But I don't think I'm going to do that on a tier list. I think I'm just going to do that as like a countdown. We'll see that at some point. I don't know when I'll get around to it, maybe this weekend, and it'll go out next week sometime, I don't know. I'm also hoping to do a kind of a ranking of all the races. That one probably will be a tier list, so every race this season, ranking them, probably not sprint races, just the main Grand Prix. So that'll probably be another tier list one. And also I've got to react to my predictions that I made at the start of this season. So I did predictions for the Drivers and Constructors Championship just after preseason testing. So I've got to do a reaction to that to see how I predicted some things. I can't really remember many of my predictions off the top of my head, so that will definitely be an interesting one. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.